So this is going to be a case study of one of my students who actually managed to get to $120,000 in revenue in the first 3 months of working together with me. All right. It's going to be very interesting to look at what he did really well and where he had his weak points before we started and what we needed to actually improve. All right. Before we started to work together, he made around 20K in a matter of like 6-7 months. He already was making some money. It was like $500 to $700 per day, and we scaled it up like crazy and basically got it to like 3K days consistently and even up to $7,000 days at some points. So currently he's doing really well and has 3 winning products, so it's going to be very interesting to actually look at what he did really well. So let's just jump into it. All right.
But yeah, all right, let's get started. Welcome to the interview, Alex. Yeah, you can maybe introduce yourself. We've been working together for how long? Like
almost 3 months now. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, tell your story. Where you from?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm from Belgium. It's been like 5 years I've been doing business online. Before I was selling like online courses in the music production niche. So I grew like a YouTube channel and basically build like funnels to sell my expertise. And so like in the beginning of this year, I wanted to start going into e-commerce because my previous business, I wasn't able to scale it, and it was relying on my personal brand, right? Which is kind of a problem. So I was looking for something that wouldn't require me to do content or like to do all the work by myself, something that I could outsource in the end once I reached like a higher revenue. And so that's why I went into e-commerce. I started seriously like in May 2021 this year. So like I started to try some products on the US market. And I got like one product that made around 20K in sales, but it was almost break even. I mean, the net profit margin after all expenses was like 9%. So like almost nothing basically. And then I keep trying some products, and then I joined your coaching, and right now is doing pretty well, between 3,000 to 7,000 euro per day, depending of the day. So that's about me.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. The progress was pretty rapid with you because you already had some past experience. So the progress was pretty quick. Maybe you can also like screen share and show some stats, show some numbers.
Sure.
And yeah.
So this product started around 1st of November until today. So for this product, I think I just found it just before we started doing the coaching, right? I was trying a lot of product on my general store, like a store with like a generic name with no branding, just simple store. And I found a product that was like a Christmas type of product, like a custom gift. So I started to test it around like late October, right? Yeah. And it was doing well. Like I went up to like 500 euro per day, 700, 1,000. And then I decided to send the product to some micro influencer to make like a UGC content basically, because like I was profitable with like AliExpress, a picture and video, but the profit margin was quite low. I mean, it was lower than what we achieved afterwards. So I decided to do that, send the product to some people to make video. And then from there, like I found really a winning ad, and that allowed me to scale further. So I created a new store on like the 2nd of November, and I was able to scale it like pretty quickly up to like here within 2 weeks, like 5K a day. And just at this time, I got blocked by Facebook. So that was kind of a problem. My ad account was disabled because of some unusual activity, because I'm traveling, and I don't know exactly why. So like I tried a lot to get it back, but it didn't work. I ended up working with a friend that has like agency ad account for like those days. Like, so we did like 3K a day for a while. And then like my ad account got back. So I was able to scale it back to almost 5,000 euro per day. And so like over the last few days, I decided to cut the advertising because we're already on the like 14th of December. The product is a custom product, so it takes quite some time to first create the product and then ship it out. So we're afraid that people won't get it by Christmas. So like I decreased the ad spend progressively because I saw like the errors dropping. So that's about it.
Okay, got it. And this is not the only store you're currently running, right? You have a couple others as well.
Yeah. So mainly 3. I can show you the other one. So this is the general store that I've been testing my product on. And so that's over the last few months. So it really started to take off around November. And this product has been doing like between 1,000 to 2,000 per day for like around November. It was a bit lower in the last days, but then it go up and down. Like it's up and down. So like it's around 30K per month in sales. So like, yeah, that's around it. And right now I'm working on another one, which is more like in the makeup brand. So I just started this product beginning of this month. And here are the numbers so far. So like, yeah, the testing was on the 5th, and then I just keep spending more and making more sales. Yesterday was the best day so far. So I keep doing the same.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I mean, you can tell the screen share awesome. Like awesome to see. Like all in all, you made in the last couple of months, I think, how much? Like 130K, everything in total, the euros.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Around that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, really glad that it worked out like this. So what would you say were kind of the biggest game changers for you? Why did it actually start working well at this point?
I think different thing. First of all, before I was like focusing too much time on like stuff that don't really matter. I was spending time improving the website or like ordering the product before testing it. I mean, like before joining this coaching mentoring program, right? I purchased another course in the US, but it was like a cheap course, like $500. And the guy said, "Oh, you should make a brand, order your product, make your picture." So like I did that for 5 products, but for each product, it takes like 3 to 4 weeks to order the samples, made the custom video and stuff like that. So like afterwards, I saw it didn't really work for me. So I was like, let's just try fast, try product the fastest way possible, put them out on the market and see what happened. If the product is a winner, you can see from day 1 or from day 2, right? I don't think it's a good idea to test, like to order product before testing them. So that was one thing. And also, before I didn't have any knowledge about scaling on Facebook ads. So I knew how to go up to like 500 to maybe maximum 1,000 per day. I think the maximum I did before I worked with you was around 900 euro on one day. And then you told me like basically how to scale from 1 to 5. So like right now, I think my biggest day is around 7.5 thousand on 2 stores. So yeah, that was a game changer as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So yeah, one thing you said, which is really important, is the perfectionism. Basically, you stopped being so perfectionistic about everything and started to actually just focus on the most important parts, which is like the ads and the product, and that's it. You just tested, and that was it. So I've seen that's a really big thing, that people kind of take on that mentality when they join the course, because basically they see that I do it, the other people are doing it, and it works, and it just makes sense to do it exactly like that, because it's there's no point. Like if you think about every single thing which could make you way more money and only do those, then you're going to be better off than doing all the little details which are not going to make you more money. Because before, like for everybody like viewing and listening to this, every single step you do, like you have to first, before you actually do it, think, all right, will this make me more money or no? And if the answer is no, then just don't do it, and that's it. Because if you change the logo, if you change like a little part of the description, if you make some weird thing, which is you understand that it would make it a little bit better, but it's not going to be a game changer, don't do it before you have a proven concept. Later on, when you start scaling, of course, you should split test a bunch of things, and you can improve those. Like extra 2% profit, extra 3% profit are a lot on a high scale. But in the beginning, it doesn't matter. So yeah, it's good that you adapted that.
I agree 100%. Like I remember I would spend so much time, like for my old store that I was branding and stuff, I would do like crazy email marketing sequences, like even before having a lot of volume. And right now it's like, I have so many sales and like 3 stores, I don't even have the time to create those sequences. So it's like a shift in a mentality, right? But I guess also another game changer was like to really understand what to focus on. And now I see e-commerce and dropshipping more as like a skill that you learn, right? And so when we started to work together, my mindset shift from like making sales today to like becoming great at it. And like, so you need to focus on the skill that bring the result and not the end goal. Like sometimes like, oh, I want to do 1,000 per day or 2,000 per day, but like to get there, the goal is not what you should focus on, but you should focus on the process. It's like, okay, what skill do I need in order to get there? What things I need to do in order to get there? And so when I realized that, I was like, I'm going to try to be the best at finding the right product and making the right ad with it. And that's pretty much about it. Like Facebook is pretty simple. So once you got the basics covered, like if you got the great product and the great art, scaling it is not that hard, to be honest, from what I've seen.
100%. And everybody talks about those like weird, very specific strategies on Facebook that you need to increase your budget by this, doing this CBO thing, doing this ABO thing. It doesn't matter. Like if your ads are good, if your product is good, and if your store is okay, and you just spend more money, it doesn't matter how. If you increase the budget, if you like do a CBO, ABO, new ads, whatever it is, it's gonna work, you know. And like obviously there are a priority list of what you need to test first, etc. But the basics, even if you would do everything wrong, it would still work out as long as your ads and store and product is good. Obviously, keeping in mind that you're not violating Facebook policies, you're not doing like other problematic things like, I don't know, spending too much money and then not having cash flow. There's of course a bunch of other things, but those two are the main things. And also to the skill thing, I agree 100% that it's only about the skills. And on top of that, you need to be able to like solve the problems with Facebook, with all the payment providers, all of those things. As long as that's done, it's only the skills, 100%. For you currently, what would you say are your goals, let's say for the next like 6 to 12 months, where do you want to be with it?
I mean, I'd say like in terms of money goals, I would say like 10K per day consistently. So like 300,000 per month in sales. That's kind of my next step goal. And so, I'm getting there. I mean, I just focus on keep getting better, testing more stuff. Like the 2 products that I have had kind of winner recently, they have an expiry date. It's more like a Christmas product type of gift, right? So I could not go into like the branding and make it to the next level. Right now, the product I'm working on in the makeup niche, I want to like take it to the next game. And so like maybe kind of brand it and make something that will last for a couple of years and even maybe sell the brand if it works great, you know? Yeah. So like that's also another thing that I have to learn about how to, improve like the user experience, improve like put some process in place to get like UGC. Really like creating a brand is another thing than copy and paste a product from like Ecom Hunt and run some ads. It's another skill that I need to learn. So I'm willing to go there, and that's kind of my next step.
Okay. So with the branding, basically, that's for sure like a new thing. And what I've seen is that what takes you from like A to B doesn't get you from B to C, you know, and like the very first steps are actually the things where you just focus on the basics. And then when you brand, you do start to focus on details. You have to focus on little things and like to optimize everything to make it actually perfect. And that's going to be like very, very beneficial at that point. But one tip I can generally give you already with like your goal, I would put my goals into profits and not revenue. I've seen that is a big mistake to actually think in revenue, because the revenue is not real. You know, you make revenue, but the real thing which actually counts is the profit.
It's true.
So
I mean,
when I only profits.
Yeah, when I mean revenue, I mean like profitable revenue. Like I wouldn't scale something to 10K per day if it was not profitable. So I mean, like, yeah, 10K a day with like 20% margin, that's kind of the goal, right?
Yeah. So 2K, so 60K profit per month.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay. Yeah. And also I remember actually when we had our very first conversation, when we talked, if you actually want to join, if everything is a good fit from both sides. I remember how you weren't sure in general about joining, and there we had like a little discussion, like you weren't sure about. So maybe to tell me about that experience, what happened there, and also what you think now about it.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, to be honest, I joined the call. Before joining the call, I was like, no, I'm not gonna join. I don't know. I was tired this day, and like, the call happened, and so like we set up a call like that without even talking. I've never watched your video before, so I was like really cold audience, you know. So I'm like, yes. I've been in online marketing and copywriting for like 6 years, so like I know like selling and stuff. I'm kind of like I put a wall, so like, no, you cannot sell to me, right? But then after talking with you, to be honest, I had nothing to lose. Like it was like, why not give it a try?
Yeah, I mean the reason for that is generally that how we don't always do it is like the first conversation kind of get the person in the program, and the price of that program, it's like it's for the value you get, I would say it's really low, and like the price itself. And then where we actually do make the most money with the mentoring is the upsells. You know, I also have like obviously upsells with the next program, where basically it's way more expensive, and also just makes sense if people make way more money because of me, that they just keep going, and that's kind of the reasoning behind it. But yeah, also like I see it every time that people are basically like, also you, even in the end, I remember of the call, you were still like about 100% sure, and then just like after talking to me even longer, that was you're on board. But I've just seen that it's so important to actually do that, and then not just tell people, all right, do whatever the fuck you want, basically, and actually get them in, because I know how the program is. Like I know how the results are, and the person before you joined, you obviously didn't. So for you, it's like it's an unknown thing, and the decision is, if you base the decision on what you think it's going to be, it's not reality, you know. So yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, but the next question for you is, what would you say? What advice would you give to a beginner at the moment, who's just starting out, or who starts like basically making a little bit of money, but it's not that profitable yet? What are the main things?
I'd say first, if you're beginning, like set the right expectations. I see a lot of people coming into e-commerce or dropshipping, and they think it's going to be like easy money, and they think like, oh, I'm going to try like 2-3 products. I'm going to find a winner one, and then I'm going to chill on the beach. So like, if you have the wrong expectation, then you're not going to last, because it's not going to happen most probably. And I know most people give up after some time, because like I take this from my background on YouTube. Like I grew a YouTube channel up to like 60,000 subscribers, and I make like 500 videos on YouTube. So like when I started my first YouTube channel, I knew that for like 6 months to 1 year, I would get like 0 views. So like when you have the right expectation, and you know you're not going to have any views, or in e-commerce any sales, if you don't get any sales or any views after like 6 months, you're not disappointed. You're not going to quit, because you expected it. So it's totally fine, right? When you go to university, you know that you're going to study for 5 years and make 0 money, and you're fine with that because you set the right expectation. So if you're starting, like set the expectation about, just know that it might take like 20-30 products to test before you find a winning one, and just don't give up before you get there. Even if it takes some time, even if you have to invest your own money, like just be aware of that. And if you don't give up, you don't lose, basically. Like just keep doing it, and try to learn from all the failure that you've had, and try to surround yourself with people that are where you want to go. I think that's a good advice first.
Yeah, for sure. Especially the things you say about the expectations, I cannot agree like more with, because if you compare ecom with, number one, an actual like brick and mortar business, if you build, like, let's say you create a store, actually like offline store, a real store, or like work at a restaurant or whatever it is, nobody actually expects to be super profitable in the first year. Like everybody knows that, all right, I'm going to first invest a lot of money, invest a lot of time, and then in a year, in 2 years, it's actually going to start doing really, really well for me. The same thing goes for like if you go to university. If you don't expect to make money in the first year of university, because it's like it's not the proposition. You first learn everything, then you maybe get a job, then you start getting raises, and it's just like a huge process of maybe 5 to 10 years that you actually do start learning like really good money. And then with ecom, they think, all right, 1 month I'm rich, and that's just such a different thing than in reality it is. Because obviously, like for you, it worked out pretty quickly. However, it's still like you had preparation before that, and also we have to say that like you also had backgrounds in the online marketing thing. It's not if you're like a complete beginner, don't know anything about ecom, like nobody can guarantee that you're gonna like be making like really, really good money in 3 months. Like it's probably not gonna happen. As long as you don't follow the like you could theoretically, and I've seen people do it, but it's just tough because there's many problems which you never faced, which you will face. And obviously things like mentoring, they do shorten their learning curve, and you kind of see the problems which will come before they actually are there, and then you can eliminate that. But even then, super beginners, it's tough to like, they're not going to be super rich in a month. You know, it's not going to happen.
It's true, and even more like when you add to that like the technical side of like learning Shopify, I can understand that it must be pretty tough for some beginner, but it's possible. So why not give it a try, right?
Yes, and the problem is that the reason why the expectations are that is that there's a lot of people on YouTube and in general who just make it seem very simple because they sell a course with an agenda. And I've seen it a lot that people who sell a course just say that dropshipping is the easiest thing, and like if you buy it, you're going to be rich no matter what. And that's basically something I just like try to not do, even though obviously I also like I do have a mentoring program, so I have an agenda to say that dropshipping is super easy. I try to be as transparent as possible here and just make it realistic, because also if you go into it with an expectation of okay, I'm going to be rich in a month, and it doesn't happen, then you're going to see it anyways. It's going to come out either then or before. And for me, it's just about the long term. As I said, like from the program, even we make the most amount of money of the upsells of the person just staying forever. But
I think what really matter for people watching is just that they know that it's possible, and like it doesn't really matter about is it easy or hard. It's what's really matters is about you. It's about the action you're gonna take, because some people are like, oh, I'm gonna do that, but then maybe they join a program or a course, and then like it takes them like 3 weeks to make a store or 3 weeks to make an ad. Like if you wanna get there, just keep trying more product. The more you practice, every time you try a product, you get better. It's like if you want to cook, you want to start cooking, you make your first pizza, like it's not going to be right. The dough will not be cooked properly. The sauce is not going to be great. But if you make like 100 pizza at the end of, you get better, and you have more chance to make a better stuff in the end. So like just take massive action. That's a good rule of thumb.
Yes, and also like what I've seen is, for example, that it obviously takes the most amount of time to test the very first product, and in comparison to testing the first product, testing the next 5 is going to be quicker if you actually do it right. So also for everybody just who didn't test a single product, expect that you're going to face problems which you never faced, and you're going to have to solve them. And then after you solve them, the next time solve it is going to be not even a tenth of the time. So like if in the beginning it takes just too long, keep in mind it's the first time. Don't get demotivated, don't get discouraged, because there are solutions for all the problems you're going to face. And if somebody already is there, like you see tons of people in general who make money in dropshipping, all right? You could think it's fake, but like also what we do, that's why we even in the first consultation calls, I always do like a screen share and show that it's actually real. No, like whatever it is that people do is like changing the numbers on on Photoshop or whatever. If you see that it's real, then it's like you just have to understand that somebody made it actually work, and they overcame that problem, and they for sure faced that problem. If it's so many people, it's not only one person doing well and he just was lucky. It's not that. So as long as you know that people overcame it, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't. except for you're lazy and don't do the proper things.
Yeah, I mean, like business in general is about solving problems. Like you say, at the beginning you have some problem, but like the more money you make, the problem just get bigger. It's never stopping. Like if you don't have any more problem, you're just not growing. So like try to embrace it. And some people are just not cut for it. Like some people just cannot solve problems. So like it's something that can be learned, but yeah, try to find a way. I think I watched a video of yours recently. You were talking about the ability to solve problem and the ability to like develop the right skill, and I couldn't agree more with that. So I think it's something that just also about the expectation. Like it's never going to be like chill on the beach, basically, and like the laptop lifestyle. I mean, it's possible, but just don't. It shouldn't be your first goal. Like your first goal should be to do something, do your best, get better, and build something that will last.
Yeah. The thing is that you shouldn't work because of laziness. Like the laptop lifestyle thing is also something where you work to then chill out and then to be basically lazy. I get it. Some people actually do want that, and it's possible to do it if you have like a bunch of things outsourced. If you do like a really, really good job with everything, it's possible to do that. But you're like, when you're actually there and you are able to do it, the next question is if you actually want that. Because for me, for example, I could theoretically stop working for most of my day, and I would make the same amount of money. I would just not grow anymore. And I don't want that because I'm just really, really enjoy it. So this laptop lifestyle thing is, now it seems really appealing, but when you actually get there, it's a different story.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I got a taste of it with my previous business. At some point, I was making around like 6-figure profit per year, and I totally like stopped working, living in Thailand, party every day, like traveling, 5-star hotel, like the cliche basically. But after 6 months, like you get bored, like you have nothing to do with your life. So I don't really like just go back to work.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. How much? 2 questions. Number one, you talked about problem solving. How do you actually approach a problem when it comes? How do you try to solve it? What's the process for you?
I mean, like, I try to look how other people solve the same problem, right? So it depends on the problem, but I'm like, I think all problems can be solved, and I'm like, I'm not doing anything new here. So like, other people had the same problem before. So like the thing is about finding those people or finding the resources. Like you can find a lot of stuff online. Like you can learn most of the e-com stuff. You can learn it online. The only problem is like you won't know what is the truth or what will get you where you want to go. Yeah. But I think like for me, I just Google a lot of stuff, or I ask my friend. I ask people. Like people know stuff that I don't know, right? So that's how I approach problem solving. It's more like reverse engineering.
Yeah, it's basically about finding people who already had this problem, and you could theoretically solve everything by yourself, and it would take way more time, but you could do it. Or you find a person who did exactly your problem. And in some cases, that person, for example, also doesn't have to make insane amounts of money, because I, for example, can listen to a person who makes way less money than me, is way less like doing like successful financially. However, I listen to them because they're really good at one specific little thing. If you're a beginner, and even if you make tons of money with your current job, if you get a VA person, like if you get a Fiverr guy to install your pixel, you can either do it by yourself, or you can pay him $20 and he's going to install your pixel, and he already did it like 2,000 times. So it's going to be super easy for him, and for you, you might have trouble with it. So
yeah, it's true. It's better to focus on the skill that actually matter and actually bring the money. But yeah, you can learn from anyone, as long like I try to learn from people that you can tell they master their craft, basically. Like it doesn't matter the income, but like if I'm talking to someone doing customer support, like you can tell they have processes, they have like a template for their reply, they use this software, they make this spreadsheet for you. Even if you pay them like €5 per hour or something, like you can still learn from them. Yes, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And the next question here is like, what would you, how many hours per day are you currently working, and how how much time does it take in general?
So like I'd say it depends. I would say between 2 to 5 hours per day. Yeah, maybe on average like 3.5 per day. Yeah.
And what's the main focus? What do you do?
Right now it's ads most of the time. So like all my day is structured. Like I woke up around like 9 to 10, something like that. I work, I check the ads, the order. So I like optimize the ad, create new campaign and stuff like that for like maybe 1 hour. And then sometimes that's my day, but sometimes I would try a new product and I would do like a full day of work. So like after that, I would make a new store, product research and stuff like that. So like I don't have every day the same amount of work. Sometimes it's like 2 hours, sometimes it's like 8 hours, but I would say on average per week, it should be around like 20, 25 hours per week. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Did you already outsource specific things?
Yeah. Right now, customer support is outsourced, and it's like a huge gain of time. I used to do customer support up to like 5,000 per day in revenue, and I was like, I should have outsourced earlier, like way earlier. Like I'm paying someone 200 euro per month, and she do the customer support for like 3 of my store. So like that's pocket change compared to the numbers we were talking about, right? And it free up so much like mental space, because it's not about it takes the time, but for me it's like when I see that I have a lot of email and stuff, it gives me some anxiety, and I procrastinate. I'm like, oh, and at some point I wouldn't even open like the mailbox. I'm like, oh, tomorrow I reply to all, tomorrow I reply to all. Then you end up with like hundreds of emails. It's like, it's not a good use of your time. So I would, if I had to do it all over again, I would outsource way earlier.
Yes, and you have to just think it always like this, that you have to weigh up your time investment and your money investment. And you could either invest your time into doing email support, which you should do in the beginning, and you should just generally understand how long it takes and all of those things. But after you have an understanding, and also after you start making more money, you have to understand that your time starts immediately becoming worth more, because you could invest the time into more money-making activities. It's not that you were like a better person or a better human, no, but you are a more like your time itself could be invested somewhere where the other person, which makes less money than you, couldn't invest it, where the return wouldn't be that high. So you should invest your time into only those, and obviously also free time where you do fun stuff, but the time where you actually do work becomes more valuable, and that's important to keep in mind. And then at the point where your hour becomes more valuable than $8, which should be pretty quick, you should be able to outsource it to a VA for like $5 to $12 per hour, and give it to them, and that's it.
Definitely. It's true that but it's good also to do when you're starting out, do everything by yourself, so then you know how it works, and then it's easier to outsource, because how are you going to outsource something if you've never done by yourself? Like you cannot judge if the person you outsourcing to is good or not, right?
Yes, and I was talking about this probably somewhere on the YouTube channel already, but it happened to me where I outsourced way too early, and I started to outsource as much as possible in the email department, in the order fulfillment things, and I lost so much, like only through the email stuff. I think it was 30K or so I lost. I don't remember exactly, but I lost so much money because I thought that the people actually have to reply that much, and I had like a 24-hour shift. Of every minute of the day, there was a person who was looking at my email. And then after like 3 months of doing that, at some point I realized I maybe get like 30 emails per day, it's not even close to the hours I actually, the people actually work. And then I saw, okay, wow, I'm just wasting like all of this money for nothing, because I've never done it. I have no idea how long it takes to answer 5 emails. Like how many emails per hour is it normal to answer? I have no idea. So because I didn't have those metrics, which now I know, basically that was a big learning for me.
It's true. One thing also that, if I look back on my e-com journey, is at first I was on some products and I thought it was my first sale and stuff like that. So I was happy, and I was trying to improve something which didn't have the potential, in my opinion, to grow where I wanted to go. So it was kind of a waste of time. Sometimes if something is like maybe break even or a bit profitable, but like I was trying so hard to make it better, to improve, to optimize everything, and it still wasn't that great. So like I think I made a right decision to like drop those products and just start something new, fresh start, and see what could get me there. Now, also something that helped me is try different markets. At first, I was targeting like big four English market: US, UK, Australia, and Canada. And then I'm a native French speaker, right? So I decided to try selling product in France. And for me, it worked better because like CPMs are like really lower, and they have a good purchasing power as well. So that's something that helped me. So maybe for the viewers, sometime maybe it's worth trying other countries in Europe or wherever.
Basically, just keep in mind that with like if you sell to Europe, you have to keep in mind that there is VAT tax, and you have to be careful from which region you sell and where you sell. Just keep that in mind because I've seen a lot of people having issues with that. So for everybody viewing, Europe markets are amazing as long as you keep that in mind.
Yeah, also a bit more market research to understand about like the consumer choices, the payment method, and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, really appreciate you being here, and looking forward to get you even to better numbers.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, good in for you, and talk to you soon. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
So if you actually want to also become one of my students, you can click the link below, sign up for a free consultation session with me personally, and we're actually going to find out if we are a good fit to work together long term. All right. The whole program is going to be one-on-one, so me and you constantly having calls, and I'm going to constantly look over your shoulder, guide you, and tell you exactly what you have to do in the product research phase, in the store, ad creation, in the Facebook ad setup, how to scale, how to brand, how to like negotiate with suppliers, with influencers. The whole package is going to be there. I'm going to explain to you everything from A to Z. So yeah, basically, if you're interested in that, click the link below, sign up for a free consultation session, and we're going to figure out if we actually are a good fit.